That's their land, Mount Seir. Okay. So it's talking about them, and it says Mount, so it's talking about the government of the so-called white man. Alright, Mount Seir. I am against thee. So the Lord is against America. He's against the U.S. government. He's against all forms of the so-called white man's government. Okay, he's against thee. And I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, and the time that their iniquity had an end. Okay? So that goes into him. Going back to what we got in Amos 1 and 11, where it says, Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword. His brother was Israel. Alright? And did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. Alright? And the scriptures say this is 1 John 3 and 15. First John 3 and 15. It says, Wherefore, whoso hateth his brother is a murderer, and ye know that no murderer have eternal life abiding in him. That's right. Okay? So he was a murderer. Alright? That was murder he was committing against our people, man. Alright? Alright? So the Lord gonna deal with him, man. And that was to fulfill prophecy. Alright? This is is that Daniel's? Yeah. Daniel's chapter 7. Daniel 7 and 21. It says, I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. Now that horn is speaking about America, okay? In this portion right here. And it said made war with the saints. The saints are the children of Israel. Okay? Which the tribe of Gad will be considered children of Israel. Alright? Or saints. Alright? Psalms 148. Psalms 148 and 14. He also exalted the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, even the children of Israel, a people near unto him, praise ye the Lord. Alright, so it said that same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. Okay? Alright? So it was always set up that when he came over, he was going to do these things to fulfill prophecy, but the Lord got him because he did these things unjustly. Alright? This is Zechariah 11 and 4. Thus saith the Lord, my power feed the flock of the slaughter, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. Alright? Which we encounter this all the time, especially us down here in the South. Okay, number one, these simple ass people down here come up rolling up on us thinking we Negroes. Like we some disgruntled niggas. Then when we check them and tell them, nah, we of native descent. Number one, you're going to pay what you did to the so-called Negroes. Okay, that's number one. Number two, you're going to pay for what you did to our people. But then they like, oh, that's not us. But what was your justification for stealing the land, for oppressing the people, and taking it by violence? The only reason you did it was because the Lord was set you up to inflict judgment on us because we were going off. Okay, that's all you are. You was used for punishment to the children of Israel, you so-called white people. Alright? That's why you would say some shit like this. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. Alright? And the reason why you say that is because you honor all these so-called presidents that had a hand in slaughtering and destroying the North American Indians. You got them all on your money, okay? You got Andrew Jackson. He was a known Indian killer, all right? They call him Sharp Knife, okay? Which, let me get that on him real quick, all right? And he was responsible for what they call the Trail of Tears, all right? This is from the book Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee, all right, by D. Brown. I just got the illustrated edition. You can get the paperback. It's probably cheaper. This was like $40, but it's worth it because of the pictures and stuff. You know, help you illustrate. But let's get about this demon, Andrew Jackson. All right, this is on page 9. All right, that's the picture of Sharp Knife. All right, who you niggas love worshiping so much, Andrew Jackson. All right, Satan. All right. This is from page 9. It says, in 1829, Andrew Jackson, who was called Sharp Knife by the Indians, or the Gadites, Native Americans, took office as President of the United States. During his frontier career, Sharp Knife and his soldiers had slain thousands of Cherokees, Chickasaws, Choctaws, and Creek, and Seminoles. But these southern Indians were still numerous and clinged stubbornly to their tribal lands, which had been assigned them forever by white man's treaties. Okay, because the former presidents and government leaders and people that the tribes made agreements with, all right, when they was assimilated into the culture of the white man, they promised that they could keep their lands if they followed the ways of the so-called white man. That's why they called the Cherokee, Chickasaw, Choctaw, Creek, and Seminoles, basically the tribes down here in what is known as the Southeast. They called them the five civilized nations. Okay, because they deemed them civil because they followed the ways of the so-called white man. Okay. Alright. But they clung to their lands because they thought this man honored his covenant, his treaties. In Sharp Knife's first message to his Congress, he recommended that all these Indians be removed westward beyond the Mississippi. I suggest the property of setting apart an ample distance west, a district west of Mississippi, to be granted to the Indian tribes as long as they should occupy it. Although enactment of such a law will only add to the long list of broken promises made to the Eastern Indians, Sharp Knife was convinced that Indians and whites could not live together in peace and that his plan would make possible a final promise which never would be broken again. On May 28, 1830, Sharp Knife's recommendation became law. 2 years later, he appointed a commissioner of Indian Affairs to serve in the War Department and see that the new laws afflicting Indians were properly carried out. And then on June 30, 1834, Congress passed an act to regulate trade and intercourse with Indian tribes and to preserve peace on the frontier. All that part of the United States west of the Mississippi was not within the states of Missouri and Louisiana or the territory of Arkansas, would be Indian country. No white person would be permitted to trade to the Indian country without a license. No white trader of bad character will be permitted to reside in Indian country. No white person will be permitted to settle in Indian country. The military force of the United States will be employed and apprehensions